Well, bowling fans are back today. Classic Lanes in Greenfield is the site this year for the 2014 Ladies Trios Classic. Joey, our defending champs are back in the field with Chicago Bowler Shop. All the way down the bottom, though, this time around, they're going to have to win 3 matches to get the TV. And with the high-scoring pattern we've had out here today with Middle Road, it's going to take a lot of strikes to get to the title.
Well, yeah, it's definitely going to be an over 200 score to advance, but if any team can do it, I think those girls can get it done.
You know, and there's one team in the field. You got to give them a little bit of advantage. 3 of the teams from Illinois, but we have one team that does their bowling here right at Classic Lanes in Greenfield. The anchor bowler, Hall of Famer Gina Darashevsky. They could be the kind of dark horse team out here today.
Yeah, and Gina, as you know, the crowd favorite for sure, but her supporting cast is going to have to pull their weight to get it done.
Yes. No doubt about that. Lots of exciting bowling. I think there's going to be a lot of strikes out there today as well here from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Join Joe Sora and I back from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for our opening match in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned.
Looking to have a fun birthday party? Planning a charity fundraiser? Or in charge of a group outing? Classic Lanes Greenfield is the perfect place to host your event. Contact them at 414-282-6400.
Eileen's Bowling Buddy, used by high school and college coaches and members of the PBA Tour to train, warm up, and rehab. Get all the information at eileensbowlingbuddy.com. Opening match here from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the 2014 Ladies Trios Classic. 2 dark horses versus Chicago Bowler Shop. Joey, we got a bunch of Illinois bowlers here, but I'll tell you what, they came up across the border firing strikes today.
Yeah, and are they truly dark horses or are they favorites?
I don't know. The full team name today was 2 dark horses and a pony. I didn't ask the ladies what exactly all that meant. I think it's the ponytail here on Megan leading things off for that team.
Opening shot, nice way to start the match.
And well, Megan's bowled on TV before under pressure. Part of the Maryland Eastern Shore teams that have won a couple of NCAA titles recently, and also the USBC Intercollegiate Team Championships back in 2013. So, Teresa Wojnar now. Husband Jason's made one of our shows in the past.
Yes, he has, and Jason here rooting her on.
Teresa, I believe this is her 4th show with us that she's made. A couple of these trios classics as well. And
playing a deep inside line, it kicks the 10 with the 6 helping out.
Yes, indeed. And with this Kegel's Middle Road pattern, it's not a sport compliant pattern. Bowlers have to make pretty good shots, though, and the lanes did change quite rapidly all day. Ladies are bowling on a pattern that they've been bowling on all day. We did not reel before the TV show, so there might be a little bit more room to the right for them than they had when they first started the day, but you're going to see some very direct lines just like out of Tracy there.
And we're seeing nothing but perfection so far, Phil.
3 shots, 3 strikes, lots of strikes out there all day, and the bowlers, when they bowl these Baker format games, really get some good teamwork. You'll see a lot of communication about how their ball reacted between shots. Keep everybody online.
Well, we may be seeing some of the house's characteristics coming through the Middle Road pattern as well. And yeah, 4 for 4.
Natalie Cortez keeps us going here. Natalie as well. She's been with us a couple times on our Trios telecast, along with Rochelle Blake, the anchor of that team, or the captain of that team, I should say. Captain of 2 dark horses here, Karen Evans. Getting yourself lined up, and once again you see playing that nice inside line. This pattern is about 42 feet in length, and that one came up a little high on her.
Yeah, it looked like it was a little left off her hand, and it could just be a little opening shot. Jitters too, but I mean, the girls average pretty well making the show.
Yeah, all these teams well over 210 in average, making the TV show during the Baker part of this tournament.
Right, and that's moving pairs every game.
Moving pairs every game. Semifinal matches were all Baker matches, so they bowled some regular team games in qualifying and then Baker games in the semifinals, and a bad break there for Karen sliding behind that 3-pin. Once again, the Palliser tried to hook back a little bit, didn't quite get all the way to the pocket.
Yeah,
pardon me, all the way to the 3-pin.
Anytime you leave up more than 1 pin, there's chances of chopping or missing, obviously. You still need to have accuracy.
Rochelle Blake. Niles, Illinois, bowls a lot of her bowling at Brunswick Zone in Niles. 2 300 games to her credit, and right through the schnoz there with leaving the baby split, the 310. Not any easier to convert than what we just saw for Karen with the 3-6-10.
And you can see in Rochelle's game using a pearlized Brunswick Deviate, the Pearl Diva, but a little softer ball speed on her part, came up a little high.
Yeah, she's probably out of the 6 ladies on this pair, she probably has the slowest ball speed, but she also has a release that has a little bit of spin on the bottom of it, so it helps the ball get down lane before it makes a change in direction. Needs some help to stay right, and she gets it.
Perfectly done. And, well, that's it. Slower ball speed, a little bit more spin. You get the length, but you also can get a more violent reaction in the last 20 feet.
So watch that replay there. Perfect conversion of the 310, getting the ball to take out both pins. Let's see if Megan Buja here can get her team back striking.
Megan, 22 years of age, from Rockford, Illinois.
Lots of good high school players in the Rockford area. And ooh, almost in Stone 8 there.
Double on her part. A very aggressive shot through the release zone. She's got a nice game.
So no doubt, yeah, you can't stay competitive in college unless you know how to play a lot of different angles on the lane. And she was finding angles in practice and got herself really locked in and bowling in that 1, 4, 7, and 10th frame spot. You're the only bowler on the team that's bowling 4 frames in this Baker format, and you got to make sure you can make that extra shot count for your team. Let's see what Teresa can do here. Gets that ball hooking back in the pocket, and a great shot to get us into the commercial break for our first match of the day here from Classic Lanes Greenfield. The 2014 Ladies Trios Classic will continue shortly. Make sure you stay tuned. Four frames in the books here from Classic Lanes Greenfield. And Joey, we said there were going to be a lot of strikes on this show today out of the ladies, and they've proven it so far. 6 strikes out of 8 attempts.
Well, that's it. Middle road pattern, we know, doesn't play that easily, but we're in a nice scoring house here, and the girls' rev rate, I think, makes it a little easier to control the pocket, being more in the medium to medium-low rev rate.
Yeah, I think that some high-rev bowlers that you'll see on our next show for the guys when we have our 2+1 trios finals, they're going to be going on the same lanes on the same pattern. I think you're going to see the gentlemen maybe have a little more issues with getting to the pocket than we have with the ladies so far today. And once again, the shots that are missing right now are creeping up high because of the tight lines they're trying to play to get to the pocket.
Right, and it appeared Tracy liked that off her hand, yet she was kind of surprised with the back end reaction. And you know, everybody likes to see back end reaction because we know it can enhance hitting power, but it's not as easy to control the pocket sometimes.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're hitting a 1-3 pretty firm in order to get all 10 down. Gets up to the line nicely, well balanced, and a big break there.
A
to
little
get
left
the
off her hand, but she caught the break on the mix.
So she knows it coming back. Big smile on her face, and her teammates' faces there. So watch the replay. Watch that 3-pin do all the work on the 6 and the 10. Could have gotten the 4 and the 7 out too at the rate that one hit. And the indecision there on Tracy's part, not knowing if she was going to make that spare, ends up putting a smile on her face. Natalie here playing that nice tight line in the pocket and gets that 5-pin over in the 4-7 switch zone.
Good mix for Natalie on that shot, and now let's see if Karen can catch the next one here.
Yeah, pretty much imperative for Karen to do that. I mean, Chicago Bowler Shop working on a double, and 2 dark horses already down by 23 pins after 6 frames. Needs to do a lot of catching up. Nice out of the paw, and she gets the nice mixer.
Yeah, you can see she stayed nice and firm with that, nice and low at the foul line.
So, watch the replay there of that strike. Watch that ball get in there. 5-pin does a little work, but the head pin comes back off the wall, takes out the 4 and the 7. And she knew it was a little light, just a matter of kicking the corners out. And hey, well, this is the only center in the United States that's had 2 900 series shot net here at Classic Lanes Greenfield. You know the carry's got to be pretty good.
Well, they also set a record one year for 300 games in a season, and I'm sure that record has been eclipsed by a few other centers since, but was it well over 100?
It was well over 100, and with strikes like that, with carry like that, like Rochelle Blake just said, you can see why you get some good bowlers in the center like they do here at Classic Lanes Greenfield, and a lot of 300 games can get shot.
Well, the Dereshevsky clan definitely knows how to maintain lanes and set up proper lane patterns for scorers. Now let's see if Megan can strike here for the team in dire need.
Nice up to the line. Watch her snap that follow through, and that ball unfortunately snapped a little high in the pocket.
Yeah, using a Brunswick Mastermind Genius, a hybrid cover, strong core, and it didn't look as though she threw that any slower than the previous 2 strikes, but the pattern can break down pretty quick.
Yes, it can. We noticed that all day. We'd watch the ladies, especially during the Baker games, they would end up making a 2-board move with their feet and a 1-board move with their target, usually after 4 or 5 shots. So didn't take them long to start getting deeper. And nice cover there by Megan. Unfortunately for her team, though, falling rapidly behind, down by 33 pins, and not stringing strikes together for 2 dark horses is really hurting them at this point in time.
Well, again, we're on a nice lane condition with some quality players, and it's in a Baker game. It's a 1-game match. It goes by quickly. You got to string strikes.
Teresa Wojnar looking for 4 in a row for her team, and boy, that ball just set up really nice in the pocket.
Beautifully done there, and her ball a little bit duller surface, so she's not going to see much skid flip, but a little smoother motion. Looks like a Rotogrip Asylum hybrid cover, but again, duller finish. Now let's see if Tracy can hop back on the horse.
Looking to get a strike for her team. Right now, maximum score would be 225 if 2 dark horses can strike out.
Tracy, a young-looking 39 years of age. Looking at her bio sheet, a little wide. Got it back and caught the strike, knocking out that 2-7 light.
Well, if there's something that could fire up your team a little bit, it's getting a carry like that when you hit very light in the pocket. You see her flexing there.
That was almost out the board 3-4 at about 40-some feet, but she must have caught it at the bottom. So she's feeling it.
Exactly. Get the big fist pump there, and hey, it keeps your team in it. You're not out yet, but if Natalie Cortez here can get another one for her team and just right in the pocket, throwing ropes. Kind of reminds me of what Bill O'Neill did on TV recently for the PBA Badger Open, where a lot of the bowlers are playing way inside, and he just played ropes right up about 15th board and had no problem striking out in the 10th frame to win the title.
Yeah, it's not how you do it, it's if you do it, and sometimes you have to go against the green with your lane play if everyone's in one part of the lane. You know it's going to change quicker.
Yeah, and Karen in the 9th frame there, it's pretty much going to spell game over for her team without getting a double. Ball just creeps up a little bit high, and as we've seen the lanes progress, we've seen the misses have been to the inside part of the lane, and they're not seeing the hole that they're looking for as they're making these moves to adjust to the transition.
Right, and it could be that lane. I mean, it may not be the girls not reading the adjustments. That lane just may be disappearing more quickly, and the right lane may not be.
Well, Chicago Bowler Shop is our defending champions in this tournament. So they won this with the same lineup last year. Last year they only had to win 2 matches to get the title. This year, if they want it, they're going to have to win 3. And next team, the home team, Classic Lanes Greenfield, that they might go on to face. That feel a home field advantage, and wow, how about that for a bad break?
Yeah, just a little deep through the pocket and no deflection when she wanted some. Getting the double tap with the 4 and 9. You saw the ball clearly go left of the 9 pin.
Well, Michelle's mom, Dot, in the crowd here today, came all the way in for Las Vegas just to watch her in this tournament. Well, maybe a little visiting afterwards as well, but want to make sure that we gave Dot a nice shout out for cheering her daughter and her team on today, and smart move to just take the one. Obviously, it's going to be enough to win this match at this point in time. Maximum score right now is 205 for 2 dark horses, so they're going to go home in 4th place, take home 4th place money today. And Megan just trying to give her team a strong finish here.
Yeah, and I like on Megan's bio sheet her favorite interest outside of bowling, sleeping.
You get that with a lot of college kids, though. They're doing a lot of studying. If they're not on the lanes, they're in class, or taking exams, or studying. And
right, but sleep is good. In fact, watching the World Cup a few days back, one of the better players in the world from Argentina said he likes to sleep 14 hours a day.
I believe it, for as hard as they push themselves. And these bowlers are athletes. I mean, during these college tournaments, they're spending 7 or 8 hours a day out on the lanes. So they need to make sure that they are sharp mentally and physically, and the only way to do that is with a good amount of rest. So
give the body time to recoup and heal, refresh itself.
Exactly. And Megan here just looking to finish out strong for her team, taking home 4th place money today. Want to thank the sponsorship of Classic Lanes Greenfield for adding to the prize fund, and not a bad payoff ratio for this tournament today. We paid better in 1 out of every 2 teams that came up here today to bowl, and there's the finish she's looking for, 193 for 2 dark horses.
Yeah, that's quite a good percentage of the payout, since most tournaments are typically, say, between 4-to-1 and 6-to-1 in ratio.
Absolutely. So there's still a few teams here cheering on the other ladies, watching them bowl and enjoying an adult beverage or two. Let's see what Teresa can do here.
These girls don't drink, do they?
I'm sure we can find 1 or 2 enjoying an adult beverage in the crowd.
Well, moved inside a little deeper and keeps her strike train right on track.
Absolutely. Perfect 4 for 4 this game for Teresa. So we're going to move ahead. We're going to take an early commercial break since this match is no longer in doubt. We get back to Classic Lanes Greenfield for the next match between Chicago Bowler Shop and Classic Lanes Greenfield in just a moment. So make sure you stay tuned, bowling fans.
I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too.
Opening match finishes up today. Chicago Bowler Shop advances with a 233 game over the 2 dark horses, 193. And now for our second match, a little home field advantage, possibly for Classic Lanes Greenfield against Chicago Bowler Shop. And Chicago Bowler Shop gets bumped over to lane 11 here for the semifinal match. And Teresa Wojnar leading that team off.
Well, that could be the big move, is moving them to the left lane, because they pretty much own the right lane. Yet, their opening shot doesn't look much different.
No, Teresa 5 for 5 so far on shots. We won't count the pocket 7-10 she left in the second ball of the 10th frame as in her strike percentage, because we wouldn't do that for our high school or college bowlers at Bull Baker,
True.
so we won't hold that against her either. And proprietor here at Classic Lanes Greenfield, Gina Dereshevsky, starting things off.
Probably the top female bowler from the city of Milwaukee in recent memory.
And no problem.
Great opening shot for Gina.
Gina, a longtime member of the Wisconsin State Women's Bowling Hall of Fame and the Milwaukee Women's Bowling Hall of Fame, and just saw her recently at the Milwaukee Women's Champions Dinner, where another great member of Milwaukee Women's Bowling that we've seen in a couple of our telecasts, Diane Krantz, was inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Let's see what Natalie Cortez can do here. And how about that slow roller on the 8-pin?
And she's been a striking machine today, regardless of which lane she's on. And she's probably playing one of the more direct lines of the players.
Yeah. During the commercial break, only Classic Greenfield got to practice on the pair. Once they decided that they were going to move Chicago Bowler Shop to lane 11, they only received 1 channel ball for each team member. So in order to get locked in that quick, you can tell these bowlers are talking to each other on the lanes. And first time on TV here for Tracy Jacobs. Bowls a lot of her league here at Classic Lanes in Greenfield and can't quite get that 10 out.
Yeah, a little bit of a soft 10, but a good shot nonetheless for her opening shot.
And you can see a couple of members there from 2 Dark Horses and the Pony hanging around, Karen Evans and Megan Bugia. They're going to watch all these matches and root the other ladies on. Just you got a lot of friends that bowl. They might not be your friends at the moment you're bowling them on the lanes, but you're going to stick around and cheer for them when they're done with the competition.
Good spare conversion for Tracy, and she began bowling at age 22, which is a little later than most of our competitors today.
Late bloomer. When I first met Tracy, she had just started bartending at Classic Lanes in Greenfield and just started picking up the sport a little bit more, and rapidly went from a 120 average bowler up into the 180s and 190s. And I think this last season, one of her averages was over 200, so always learning, always working on her game, and she's had some great coaching from Gina Dereshevsky and from Gus Yanaris, who's done some great coaching as well in the past with my wife, Carrie. It's helped her get to a couple of Milwaukee Women's City Tournament titles, including the singles event this last year, and a great shot there by Rochelle for the first three for Chicago's Bowler Shop.
Yeah, Carrie making a habit of winning city titles lately. She rises to the occasion, which is what you're supposed to do as a bowler.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to enjoy your league, be competitive, give it 100% obviously, but when tournaments come, it's time to go to that next level.
Yeah, and speaking of next level, one of her teammates this year at the Wisconsin State Tournament, Betsy Bearhoff, won the Scratch All Events title for Women's State this year, so that's her first state title for Betsy, so we want to make sure we congratulate her on that, and a great shot there by Laura Mattia.
Yeah, great. Good length on the ball, great back end reaction, and we don't want to mess with Laura.
No.
She's a kickboxer, I see on her bio sheet, Paul.
She's been doing a lot of work. I see on Facebook she goes to 9-round. They do the kickboxing circuit training for a half hour, and that would kick my backside, I think, after the first circuit, or the first round, after let alone 9 of them. And that comes up a little light, and Teresa just has that problem getting the 7-pin out.
Yeah, one of her few non-strikes, but should be no problem on the conversion. But we haven't seen the girls shoot too many spares today.
No, lots of strikes out here, and controlling the pocket, as you mentioned early on today, Joey, is key, and just keeping it close and letting the pins fall where they may.
Well, that's it. In a one-game match, you want to stay away from opens, fill each frame, and hopefully catch a little run of strikes.
Yeah, I mean, even with that spare right there, still a 19-pin lead for Chicago Bowler Shop, but Gina Dereshevsky can cut that down to a 9-pin lead, getting in our commercial break for this game if she can strike here in the 4th frame.
You know, Gina knows how to throw strikes. She's authored 17 300 games, high series of 836. Look how clean off the hand, and the 6-pin does its job.
Yes, it does, and we got to get into a commercial break for this game as well. As much as I don't want to, all the strikes the ladies are throwing here. We'll be back from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the rest of the semifinal match in the 2014 Ladies Trios Classic in just a moment. Well, lots of fans still hanging around watching the action, talking during the commercial break. Eric Fritton, one of the better bowlers in the Milwaukee area. Kim Kenny and Charlie Bolter came down today from the Oshkosh area to bowl this event. I want to thank her and her team for coming all the way down. And we pulled in bowlers from Oshkosh area, from Appleton area, from across the border in Illinois, and lots of women coming out to support this tournament. We want to thank every one of them for coming out. We want to thank everybody for watching today. And boy, Natalie is just on fire today for that team.
Much stronger shot off the hand on that one. She probably made a little adjustment on that lane compared to where she had been playing.
Yeah, Natalie 5 for 5 so far on strikes for her team. Now Tracy Jacobs looking to come back from that weak 10-pin in the 2nd frame. See if she makes an adjustment. Looks like she moved her feet just a hair back to the right there. So maybe a half-board adjustment back. Out of her hand pretty nicely, and she gets the mixer.
Carries the mixer, and I mean, every shot is so important, Phil, because your opponents, they don't not strike.
Yeah, I mean, you see right there, both teams with 4 out of 5 strikes on the board. The 1-pin lead right now for Classic Lanes Greenfield is just because of where their spare happened to fall. 2nd frame, you don't get penalized by that extra pin loss you do on a double or a 3-bagger.
That's it. And if you get tapped just 3 times in a game, you're typically looking at a 230-some game or less, depending if you make the spare. And again, it's probably going to take at least that to win the match.
Rochelle firm at the line, needs to get that little extra push, and it held pocket nicely.
Yeah, she kicked up her speed just a little bit to hold the ball on line.
So she's got that going nicely. Gets the lead back for her team. Back out the 9 pins, but Laura Mattia here can knock that lead right back down to 1 pin for Classic Greenfield if she can continue her team's string right here.
Yeah, Laura, the author of 2 300 games and a 788 set. Soon to shoot 800, I hope. Began bowling at age 7, so she's a 30-some-year veteran.
Needs some help there, and that one just read early, and I think a little left out of her hand as well.
Well, a little left, and the ball she's using looks like a Rotogrip Wrecker, is what's known as a quick response cover. So when it hits friction, it responds quickly.
And you can see it. She thought it was good, and then, yeah, all of a sudden the ball bites up really. Happy to just have that break of just leaving a 3-pin there. Laura's husband, Steve, we saw him last year bowl with Gina in the 2+1 trios. Oh, I'm sorry, he bowled with Melissa Miller last year for the last-minute substitute for Gina. Fell under the weather that day. I think Steve Mattia and Kevin Mancha are coming back with Gina this year for the 2+1 trios you see for our next show here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Once again, I want to thank Time Warner for all their support for our 7 seasons of televised bowling with them. Looking forward to season number 8 next year in the fall, but we'll still have plenty of bowling before then, all summer long. Make sure you check your listings all the time for when our new shows come out. Teresa here looking to get a 3-bagger for her team and really take a commanding lead at this point in the match, and she gets the mixer.
Here's a light mix again, and it almost looks like they're starting to pull away a little bit, and it's just due to a few taps on Classic Greenfield's part.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes you gotta keep finding that angle in the pocket that's going to kick those corner pins out, and this could be one of those cases in the match where one corner pin makes the difference.
Gina wants to give a shout out to Mom and Dad, as well as daughter Jenna, son Justin.
Jim and Jean Porras just celebrated their 66th wedding anniversary.
Yes,
so
I saw that on Facebook. Congratulations.
Absolutely. So, and they've always supported Gina's bowling. I remember back in youth leagues when we bowled together, Jim and Jean always there to support Gina for whatever she needed out on the lanes, and a big part of why she's the success she is today, both on the lanes and as a proprietor.
Grabs her Piranha, orange Piranha from Columbia 300 for spare shooting. Great ball for that.
And that ball's almost as old as her daughter Jenna, I think.
It's probably right around 20 years old is right. And it's not like the ball won't hook. It's just 20 years of use, a little oil absorption, a little lost a little bit of its gusto. Turns into a beautiful spare ball.
Absolutely, or when the lanes are really broken down and dry. Well, let's see if Natalie Cortez here can go 6 for 6 for her team so far today, and that just a little fast out of her hand.
Almost rolled that 2-pin forward, but yeah, and again, she's not throwing the big hook, so if she gets a little wide with it, may not make it back as easily.
And happy to take that chop out of play. The head pin coming off the board, taking the 4 into the 5, and leaving a much easier spare attempt than that 2-5 if it would have stood.
Yeah, it's hard to chop long. A little double dribble on the spare attempt, and she may have chopped it if that 5-pin would have stood.
Yeah, with the increased friction we're seeing on the last 20 feet of the lane right now, the ladies are getting a little more angled than they did early on, and that could be cause for chops later in this match or in the championship match.
Now we should give some kudos to Tracy, author of one 300 game with a 752 series. Not too bad considering her late start.
Absolutely. 300 game just happened this season at Classic Lanes in the Friday night 1050 mixed league. That needs the whole pocket. And
that was a good shot off her hand. She definitely caught some mitt in it at the release point.
No doubt about that.
And they needed that to have an outside shot. Being 20 down with 2 frames to go, mathematically they are in it, but it would help to get an open from your opponent.
Yeah, well, Chicago Bowler shop right now at a 238 pace. Maximum score right now for Classic Greenfield is 248. So they're going to need a little help from Chicago Bowler shop in here somewhere. Rochelle Blake been sharp all day. Got that ball into the pocket and just can't quite get the 10 out.
Yeah, it almost looked as though she might have just kind of forced it through the front part of the lane, and sometimes when you do that, you just don't quite catch that good roll. You see the deflection upon impact. 6-pin kind of lays right in front of the 10.
Yeah, and it just shows that how strong your roll needs to be to make sure you can get that 6-pin doing some work on the 10.
Well, the 6-pin's huge because, caliber of bowlers we have here today, they hit the pocket 90% of the time, and it's nice when the 6-pin's in your corner.
So Rochelle covers it up nicely. Rochelle, big sports fan. She's originally from the state of New York. Is a big Jets fan, and she can't wait to go to Lambeau Field.
It's almost like being a Cubs fan, isn't it? I mean, how do you root for the Jets?
She still does. She's going to the Packers-Jets game in November up at Lambeau Field, so she can't wait.
I mean, do they have a chance to win that division with New England and Miami in it and Buffalo? Not.
Especially with New England. not a Bill Belichick fan, but he's always got that team in the playoffs. And a great shot there by Laura, and a bad break with the 6 touching the 10, but not knocking it down.
Yeah, that was a good shot. She may have adjusted a little bit from the last shot that came high, and I mean, threw a good shot, but you could see the little bit of deflection upon entry angle.
And just kind of a wow there, like she knew she
that,
threw it good.
That was a big shot. They needed that one. She should have no trouble with the spare.
Well, right now, any mark in the 10th frame by Teresa Wojnar gets her team into the 230s. The most Classic Greenfield can shoot here is 228, so any mark here will lock things up and get Chicago Bowler Shop in the finals. And unfortunately for our Wisconsin viewers, it would be an all-Illinois final against Team No Doubt.
But that's okay.
Well, they'll leave enough of the money on this side of the border for us, no doubt about that. Nice shot there by Teresa. That locks it up basically for a team. Staying behind the foul line is all that really matters right now. She needs 2 pins in order to...
Yeah, it's always nice to see the home team win, but, I mean, they're close to home teams.
Yep.
Yeah, they bowled a lot of tournaments together, the girls, and there's good companionship between them, even though they're competitors.
Absolutely, and you can see that with all the women that have stuck around. And, you know, it's a nice day outside here at Classic Lanes Greenfield. They could have all left and headed back home, but nope, they're staying here, and they're making sure they're rooting on their friends. It looks like Teresa made a little bit of a move left there to do an area check, and boy, that ball set up really nice. So now, if your team No Doubt, you've seen Chicago Bowler Shop shoot 230 on lane 12 and 240 now on lane 11.
Yeah,
you just got to kind of worry about your own game when you come on the lanes.
Yeah, I think you need to put them on lane 17, and we know Gina has 16 lanes here.
So let's see if she makes another move here.
Well, last game on her fill shot, didn't she leave that pocket 710?
She left the pocket 710, so it looks like she made a little bit more of a move left there, and yeah, you can see the ball just kind of skidded. So
yeah, but that was a free shot.
And that you kind of find where your hold might be on the next match. So you can see there, high fives for Chicago Bowler Shop. Classic Lanes Greenfield going to take home 3rd place money today. I want to thank Gina Dereshevsky here, the host proprietor, for adding to the ladies' prize fund with her sponsorship and helping us keep bowling in the air here in Wisconsin on a weekly basis. And of course, when it doesn't matter, they're all going to fall.
Yeah, and you can just admire Gina's game here, how solid at the line she is. A nice loose swing, very little grip pressure at release. You can tell that just by the way her hand action is.
Well, with the match no longer in doubt, we're going to take a short break here. We're going to come back with our final match with Chicago Bowler Shop versus Team No Doubt. Coming to you from Classic Lanes Greenfield in just a moment, so make sure you stay tuned for that final match.
Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Bluemont Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Well, Gina Dereshevsky tried pulling things a little bit closer for her team by striking out the 10th frame of that semifinal match, but still a 245 to 228 win for Chicago Bowler Shop, and now advancing to the final match against No Drama, also out of the Illinois area, and Teresa Wojnar starting things off for her team, and they got left on lane 11.
Well, there is no tough lane for them, Phil. I mean, they've mastered both lanes, making the adjustments, making great shots like that off the hand. I don't think it matters what lane they're on.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of No Drama has to come out here and just play their own game and shoot their own score, and hopefully it passes up what Chicago Bowler Shop puts on the board, and almost a stone 7-pin there.
You know, as good as No Drama may be or was in qualifying, the edge, I think, has to go to the team that's been on the pair, is loose, they're used to the competitiveness.
And they're defending champs of the tournament as well, so looking to lock up back-to-back titles with Kristen Nieder here, starting things off for Team No Drama, and how about that for 10 back?
Pretty good opening shot, a lot of forward roll on the ball.
So, yeah, something tells me with 230 and 240 are winning scores so far, it could take 250 this time, Joey, to win this championship match.
Well, whenever we say that, it'll be 201.
Not that we've thrown a jinx out there on anyone. So, Natalie Cortez up next. 300 games to her credit. High series of 802.
She'd easily shoot a 300 on this if it was regular play instead of Baker.
Only one light 2-pin so far to all her shots, and the little forearm bump there by Natalie.
Yeah, I mean, she's loose, she's confident, and that's why I give the advantage to the bowler shop this game. But we'll see. We have to let it play out.
Lori Colclaser stepping up her second year on TV with us as well, and just doesn't quite get that 4-pin out.
Yeah, just a pinch inside. Looks like she's using a Storm Fusion hybrid cover. Polished. A little bit of kick on the back end, as you can see.
So she's going to move well to the right in the approach. Sticks with that strike ball to hook it across the lane and get it to hook into that 4-pin. That's going to need to hold on, and it does nicely. You see a little sigh of relief coming back. She knew it was a little left out of her hand, but no play on the left side today on the TV pair. No lefties on here.
She's happy about that.
And Rochelle Blake staying in that number 3 spot for Chicago Bowler Shop. Her husband, Rich, owner of both locations of Chicago Bowler Shop.
Yeah, Rich isn't too bad a bowler.
He's won our 2+1 trios previously with Rochelle a few years back when we were at Castle Lanes in Racine. That needs to push a little bit farther, and boy, that little bit of spin she gets at release really helps that ball get down lane without a lot of effort on her part.
Again, they jump out to an early, let's say, 20-pin lead.
Assuming that Patrice Chanel here from No Drama can strike.
Patrice, 33 years of age, married to a friend of mine, Ryan Yanel. Excellent bowler. He authored a pretty good set not that long ago. What was that, 878? If memory serves me right.
I believe so. It was a 300 and a 279, a 299 if I remember right. But
whatever it was insane.
Yeah. When you get 2 shots out of 36 that don't carry, that's a pretty good night on the lanes, and a great shot there by Patrice.
Yeah, I mean, if I get 2 out of a game that don't carry, I mean, that's more than good enough.
I'd be pretty happy with that result as well. Let's see what Teresa can do here. Looking for the opening 4 in a row for her team. That needs some help getting to the pocket. And now we saw she did that area check in the last ball of the 10th frame to make sure that she could maybe get it a little farther left and find some oil, and I think she maybe just found a little too much right there. Lucky to not leave a 210 though.
Well, these girls are pretty smart, and I think they know better to play in a little bit too deep and come light than go through the face and leave a big 4, especially in a 1-game match.
Polyester ball on the spare, and you can see those polyester balls still hook a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't take, even if it didn't hook, you can chop the 2 off the 5.
And just right on it. Watch the replay there, and just, I don't think you could cut it any cleaner.
No. 1/4 inch left or right with that ball, and she makes the spare, and that could prove costly.
Well, especially because Kristen Eder can step up here, get a double for her team, and take a 4-pin lead going into the commercial break here for our final match.
Kristen, a very youthful 41 years of age, began bowling at age 8. Has authored 2 300 games, kind of like that. She has good pin carry, and I like her roll on the ball, forward roll.
Yep, she's got a great roll going, gets her team back in the lead. We're going to take the commercial break for this game. Join Joe and I back from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the rest of this championship match in just a moment. A tight match here for our championship in the 2014 edition of the Ladies Trios Classic, coming to you from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Team No Drama working on a double with a 4-pin lead. Natalie Cortez stepping up for Chicago Bowler Shop, trying to help her team get back into the lead. First time they've been behind all day, Joey.
Yeah, and it may not be for long, but as again, Natalie, we know she's going to strike pretty much.
Yeah, she's controlled the pocket all day. Only 1 non-strike so far in 8 attempts. So it's pretty good, 7 out of 8. I take that any game I could get it.
Now, Team No Drama, I mean, that's something I think a lot of high school teams should subscribe to, is try and keep the drama away from the sport. You know, enjoy the competitiveness, enjoy your teammates, root each other on. But it's hard to do when you're young. You see it in softball as well.
Yeah.
And it makes it tough on the coaches. It makes it tough on the parents.
Absolutely. And You see the ladies out here. They just get out here. They're doing the work on the lanes.
But they have matured.
Yeah.
I mean, these girls are not high school girls any longer. They're in their 30s and 40s, and they've learned maybe there is no place for drama in competitive bowling.
Exactly. Just get out there, focus on your game, help your teammates along, and hopefully you can get a title or 2 or 7 under your belt. Michelle Blake looking to get her team close in this match, gets that big strike there.
Yeah, Rochelle knows how to get it done. She gets so low at the foul line, and that helps with leverage and balance.
Yeah, and she does it with a lot of forward tilt from the spine. She doesn't do it with a lot of knee bend. There's only a slight knee bend.
Well, you see that quite often with modern day players. It's more torso tilt, let's say, than knee bend.
Yeah, you'll see that with a lot of the two-handed players is out there more than the conventional style players. Those two-handed players really get the ball low on the lane by using that forward torso. See a little bit there with Patrice as well on that shot, and 10 back for her.
Good shot for Patrice, but even the great Don Carter had a lot of torso tilt or forward bend at the waist.
Yes, indeed, and he had to use it more and more as his knees got worse and worse as he got older. I mean, eventually his competitive bowling days came to an end because of knee problems, but yeah, that's how he was able to get that great roll he had in the ball back in the day in the 60s and 70s.
But the one element you don't see often among elite players from any era is a very erect follow-through, let's say, where the knee has no bend or the torso no bend. You have one or the other or both.
Yeah. Great shot there. Boy, it's just back and forth. It's like watching a tennis match in a closet right now, Joey, with these teams just slugging it out. Fast action, strikes back and forth. Teresa Wojnar there with a 3-bagger for her team, but Kristen Nieder can step up here, get her team on 5 in a row, and extend that lead back out to 14 pins.
Kristen wants to give a shout-out to Eugene McCune, who does all of her ball drilling.
Eugene, you guys say the player on the tour that can throw it the fastest out there, pretty close to 25 miles an hour on his strike shots.
Yeah, but be good and throw it fast.
Yeah.
That's Eugene. Quite a bit different game style than his father had, the great Don McCune.
Mm-hmm. Kristen there knows she made a good shot, just a matter of kicking that 10 pin out, gets her team back in the lead, and Natalie Cortez here needs the strike to keep her team within 4.
Beautiful off the hand, and she carried that. That was just so clean, and it doesn't take power. It takes a clean release, good roll on the ball for pin carry.
And Natalie's proving today, you only need to cover 4 to 5 boards and get the ball in a strong roll and get it to do action at the pocket. So, especially for our younger viewers out there, there's a lot of high school viewers that watch, a lot of bowlers that are just taking up the game. You don't need to hook the whole lane. Sometimes, as the old saying goes, straighter is greater. Lori Cole-Clazier needs a strike here to keep her team in the lead.
And she kind of reinforced that. She's playing deep. She's going away from the pocket, and her ball's cracking back pretty strong on the back. And a slight error on her part, she goes through the face, as we see here. A slight error when you're throwing it straighter may trip a 4.
Yep. And a big break there, nonetheless, to get that 7 pin out and leave a relatively easy spare with the 6-10. Switches to a polyester ball to move across the lane. Gets that ball, covered both pins nicely, and little sigh coming back out of Lori there, knows her day is done, and now it's just basically she's cheerleader all the rest of the way through for her team.
Yeah, anytime you can convert the 6-10 without chopping it or missing that front pin being the 6 pin is a good reason for celebration.
Absolutely. Well, it's a 2-pin match here. Michelle Blake stepping up in the 9th frame. She can get her team in the lead if she can get her team's 5th strike in a row here on lane 11. And that needs some help.
She snapped up on it at release. And only she knows exactly what she did, but it appeared as though she kind of gave it a little extra at the bottom and caused the ball to kind of read up a little high.
And
fortunate not to lead a split.
Yeah, we haven't seen very many splits. I don't think we've seen any splits at all today, Joey, other than a 2-10 combination when it didn't matter for Teresa last game.
No pocket 7-10.
And a pocket 7-10, but we didn't see that on TV.
No, we did not.
We left that off for Teresa. It was a good shot nonetheless. Needs to get both with the ball, and
she gets them both. No chop there.
Well, a strike here can help No Drama get into the driver's seat.
Well, they have
something
to
to build
strike
off
here.
of.
They need to send a little message to the bowler shop, not let them double in the 10th to close them out.
Yeah, Patrice Chanel, she's been out here before. She made our TV telecast last year for the ladies trios event. Little wiggle on the approach, make sure she's nice and loose. 5 steps to the line, and she just kind of came over the top of that one, Joey.
Kind of came out of it a little bit and may have caused the ball to kind of read inside her intended target a little bit.
Yeah, just 4-pin high, not too bad. Almost got that 2-pin to do a little work on the 4, but used herself in supposedly easy spare attempt.
Well, on this type of a pattern, anything cross lane may not be as easy as you'd like it to be.
Nice at the line, and it's a good thing that's a polyester ball there to take the lane out of play. And well, basically we've got 9 frames in the books that right now really don't matter because it's down to these first frames, these 10th frame bowlers here to determine this match.
Yeah, it's all whose anchor bowler can come through in the clutch. We've seen Teresa do it before.
She stepped up last year to win this ladies trios championship crown for her team, and she's got that ball rolling so nice the last 10 feet of the lane, Joey.
So has she not doubled in every 10th frame so far today?
She got a strike and then the pocket 7-10 in the first frame. She doubled in the second game. So we just need to see what she'll do here for the third game, because whatever she does,
But without a strike here, in all likelihood, they have no chance.
it would just force, depending on count, for the both balls remaining, could force Kristen Nieder to just get a strike or any mark and a good count in the 10th frame.
And what if we have a tie?
Tie is settled by a 8th, 9th, and 10th frame roll-off between the 3 bowlers on the team. If they still tie, then it's down to the anchor bowlers in a single ball roll-off. Nice shot again and just flush.
That was pretty.
You can't beat that. You see your teammates there up on their feet. They knew it was a great shot out of her hand. Just make sure you get all those 10 pins back into the pit, which she did.
Yeah, we saw Kristen Nieder there in the background, anxious to get up there and throw, but just give courtesy.
So the strike here can get 244 for Chicago Bowler Shop. That would have forced Kristen Nieder to get a double and 7 pins. Well, now it's a double and 4 pins.
A little off balance there at release, and I think she knows that, but she didn't want to miss right.
So right now, a double and 5 pins would be a win for No Drama. And it's all up to Kristen Nieder.
Well, as Kristen struck every shot so far.
3-4-3.
Yeah, is that a good omen or not?
Well, we've seen it with a lot of the other bowlers. The other anchor bowler this game, Teresa, was only 2 for 3 before she stepped up in the 10th frame. Let's see what she can do here. And that's left out of her hand, Joey. And big time hook through the nose.
Yeah, a little left, and I mean the tendency in a pressure situation is you don't want to miss wide.
Well, No Drama, going to be taking home still a nice chunk of change for second place, but first place for Chicago Bowler Shop, $720 in prize money today. Nice bowling by all these ladies, nonetheless. And that needs some help. And doesn't really matter at this point in time. Match was no longer in doubt. 241 to 223. Chicago Bowler Shop is your back-to-back champions for the Ladies Trios Classic. Here this year from Classic Lanes in Greenfield, Joe Sarai and I will be back in just a moment to wrap up this show for you.
Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com.
Looking to have a fun birthday party? Planning a charity fundraiser? Or in charge of a group outing? Classic Lanes Greenfield is the perfect place to host your event. Contact them at 414-282-6400.
Well, Joey, we know it was going to be a high-scoring day on the lanes. Chicago Bowler Shop had their work cut out for them, having to go all the way through the stepladder, threw a ton of strikes out there today, got themselves in position to win thanks to Teresa Wojar's big 10th frame in that final game. Kristen Nieder needed to step up and throw basically the same thing that Teresa did in the 10th and just came up a little bit high.
Right, and in Kristen's defense, I mean, she was perfect going into that 10th frame, and, sometimes you need it. You give it that little extra pinchy squeezy, miss a little left, and bango, match over.
Yeah, and still not a bad day for Team No Doubt, taking home second place, but Chicago Bowler Shop, back-to-back champions for the Ladies Trios Classic. Sure we'll see them back again for the 2015 edition. And next coming up, back to you once again from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. The 2+1 trios, always a fun tournament, mixed trios tournament, and the best part about it is there's got to be a lady in that anchor position.
Yeah, fun to watch, but the girls today put on a great show.
So join Joey Soraya and I back again from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the 2+1 trios. We'll run our next show here with Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Once again, I want to thank them for having us on the air for our 7th season. For Joe Soraya at Bowlers Pro Shop, I'm Phil Brylow, and parents, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you once again from Classic Lanes in Greenfield.